In the United States, every 68 seconds, someone is attacked. But not only that, HeHe, one out of every six women reports experiencing an attempted or completed rape at some point in her lifetime. How sickening is that? I ended up graduating college and I decided to decline all of the prestigious job opportunities because I knew to my core that I needed to do something about this. I thought there has to be a discreet way for you to protect yourself and the most important people in your life. And that's when I came up with the concept behind InvisaWear. We have discreet safety devices that look like everyday accessories, necklaces, bracelets, keychains, fitness bands, hair scrunchies.
Hello, have you heard about my completely free class that teaches you 6 evidence-based ways to avoid a C-section and reduce your tearing in labor by up to 50%? And remember, I mentioned it was completely free. This class is going to teach you how to advocate for your preferences in the birth room so that you can have a birth that's filled with joy and not birth trauma. Advocating for yourself starts with being empowered with the right information so that you can ask the right questions and confidently make decisions during labor based on what feels good to you and your baby. But here's the thing. The U.S. has one of the highest C-section rates in the world, and it is ever climbing year after year. And it's not because the system is broken, albeit it is, but it's really because women don't have the tools to navigate that broken system. We may not be able to change the system before you have your baby, but what we can do is change how you operate within that system. Change the conversations that you're having with your providers. Change the places that you are getting your information to help you have informed conversation with your doctor before you have your baby. I want to teach you how to do that. We know the reasons that our C-section rates are climbing. We know the reasons that inductions happen so often, and we know the reasons that babies end up in the NICU. I want to help you avoid all of that so that you can have a birth that you love. You can find my free class at thebirthlounge.com/C-section so that you can learn 6 evidence-based ways to avoid a C-section and reduce your tearing in labor. Again, that is thebirthlounge.com/C-section. See you there. Bye.
Hey friends, Alexis here from the Birth Lounge team. Before we jump in today to the full episode, I want to offer a gentle content note. This episode includes conversations around personal safety, harassment, and violence against women and men. Please take care of yourself as you listen and pause if you need to. Today's conversation between HeHe and Rajia, the founder of InvisaWear, is one of those episodes that quietly hits you right in the chest. InvisaWear creates discreet safety devices that look like everyday jewelry and accessories, but are actually designed to help you get help fast if you're ever in danger. And what really stood out in this conversation isn't just the tech, it's the humans behind it. There's a moment where Rajia explains how the InvisaWear team handles emergency calls. And honestly, listening back, it brought tears to my eyes. This isn't just an app or a button. It's real people on the other end of the line, showing up when someone is scared and needs help, doing work in the background, building women's confidence and self-defense skills. Now, I'll say this, I'm not a true crime girly. My brain cannot handle it. But if you have been around for a while, you probably know that HeHe is. And even with all the stories and statistics we hear, this conversation feels different. It's not rooted in sensationalism. It's rooted in care, dignity, and the very real ways women move through the world every single day. Honestly, I left this episode feeling quite a bit of hope and truly inspired by the work that Raj is doing. HeHe and Raja talk about the mental load women carry, from rideshares to walking alone to traveling for work, and why safety shouldn't be something we quietly plan for in the background. This episode is validating, deeply human, and a reminder that we deserve systems that actually show up for us. If this episode resonates with you, I encourage you to share it with a friend or loved one because we all deserve to feel safer and supported. All right, let's get into the episode.
Raja, welcome to the show.
Hi, HeHe. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's a long time coming. We met earlier this year, and I told you at that event, I got to have you on the show. I got to tell people about your jewelry, about your pieces, about your mission. And then I got pregnant. So we're a little behind schedule, but I'm a girl of my word and I keep my promises. And also, I care so deeply about truly keeping women safe when it comes to being out in the world. And before we started recording, we were talking about just like how dangerous the world truly is for women. So I think I'd like to start there to kind of give us a foundation, some groundwork of what inspired you? What happened in your life to catapult you into femtech and creating InvisaWear?
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on, HeHe, and for sharing my story and helping raise awareness for women's safety. It's so crazy. Like I was telling you at that event, never in a million years would I have imagined running one of America's fastest growing startups. It all happened by complete accident after a terrifying situation I had when I was in college. I was your everyday girl. I was at a networking event. I decided I was going to leave a little bit early. And I thought to myself, maybe I should ask a friend or family member to walk me back to my car. But immediately after that, I started thinking to myself, I was like, I'm literally parked less than a block away. Why am I even thinking of having someone walk me? Why have I become so paranoid? I must be watching too much news or listening to too many true crime podcasts. So I ignored my gut instinct. I said goodbye to my friends and my loved ones, and I started walking back to my car. As I was halfway between where the car is and where the event was, an SUV full of guys drove by. They rolled down the window and they started yelling some inappropriate comments. At first, I kind of rolled my eyes because sadly, things like this happen to women all the time. So it was nothing new. I continued walking. This time, the car stopped and one of the four men started to get out. It was by far one of the scariest moments of my life. I had my phone on me, but what can you do in a situation like that? You can't really look at the attacker and say, hey, don't hurt me. I'm just going to call my friend or the police. Oh, and by the way, don't move us for 7 to 8 minutes while the police arrive on the scene. Obviously, that's unrealistic. They would have grabbed my phone and checked to the ground. I ended up running as quickly as I could, and thankfully, I wasn't hurt. Those guys were just joking around, and I was extremely lucky to not have been hurt that night. But the reality of the situation, HeHe, is I could have been a missing persons report. There is nothing different between me and all of those women you see on the next morning's news or those true crime podcasts that we all listen to so nonchalantly. After about an hour and a half, I kid you not, I was shaking uncontrollably. I was so scared, and all I could think about is how that should have been my face on that next morning's news station. I got home and I immediately started looking for safety devices that I could purchase to protect myself should a situation like this ever happen again. All I could find were big, ugly panic buttons that even my 80-year-old grandmother refuses to wear. You know what she says? She says she'd rather fall and not be able to get up than to be seen wearing an ugly panic button. And truly, can you blame her? Even if I was 100 years old, I probably would also refuse wearing all of those ugly, hideous devices. But it boggled my mind that nobody was doing anything about women's safety or even men's safety because sadly men get attacked as well. In the United States, every 68 seconds someone is attacked, but not only that, HeHe, one out of every six women reports experiencing an attempted or completed rape at some point in her lifetime. How sickening is that? I ended up graduating college and I decided to decline all of the prestigious job opportunities because I knew to my core that I needed to do something about this. I thought there has to be a discreet way for you to protect yourself and the most important people in your life. And that's when I came up with the concept behind InvisaWear. We have discreet safety devices that look like everyday accessories, necklaces, bracelets, keychains, fitness bands, hair scrunchies. And we also have a powerful app that allows you to take control of your safety. It gives you 24/7 access to a virtual trained safety agent who can essentially be a bodyguard and keep you safe and stay on the line with you anytime you feel uncomfortable.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Raja, I got chills when you were talking because I think every single woman out there listening is shaking their head aggressively, saying, "Yes, I've been there. Yes, I've been catcalled. Yes, I have run to my car or to my front door being scared to death about being attacked or being followed or having someone pursue me after I had made it clear that I didn't want that attention." And you're right, it is so scary. I typically cry after that. I'll get to a safe space
Yeah.
and I just break down because there's something so invasive and it feels so unsafe to have someone pursue you in such an aggressive manner when you don't want that type of attention. I'm really interested in more of the stats that, women are facing. So when we talk about different types of interactions, unwanted interactions, they're obviously on a spectrum. And I think a lot of us have been conditioned to almost do what you did, like roll your eyes, slough it off as like boys will be boys. But at some point, for a lot of us, especially the people on the true crime podcast, it slips into actual true danger. What do we need to know as women about keeping ourselves safe when we are walking alone? And it used to just be at night, right? But now it seems like we can't go into grocery stores. It's in broad daylight. You shouldn't run by yourself without a GPS tracker. You could be stolen and sold into sex slavery going in and out of the supermarket. I genuinely feel like the world is getting more dangerous for women. And that is not to fearmonger or to scare anybody, but instead to say, wake up, look up, don't be in your phone, take out your headphones, be alert and aware of your surroundings. So, what can we do as women to keep ourselves safe when, in fact, the world is quite dangerous for us?
Oh my gosh, he. Every single woman I have ever met in my life has had a similar situation to the one I experienced. Like you said, it's such a common occurrence. And when people hear, oh, someone was attacked, they immediately think, oh, they were walking in a black alley or what were they wearing and all this stuff. And the sad reality is the majority of these horrible attacks are happening in broad daylight near other people that you love and care about. You just had no discreet way to alert them the same exact manner that I had. It's so unfortunate that we live in a world where we need to be proactive about our safety, but it's just the sad reality of the world we live in. You wouldn't leave your home without home security, nor would you sleep with your doors unlocked. And that is the exact reason we always encourage people to be proactive about their safety and to purchase our devices. But it's really more than that. It shouldn't just be on us to purchase devices that keep us safe. At InvisaWear, we now offer free self-defense classes for our community where we teach women hands-on techniques on how to protect themselves should a situation arrive. So I'll send you details for our next one. We actually have one coming up next week. You're more than welcome
Nice.
to share it with the listeners, and they're all welcome to join us. But we teach people simple tools and techniques that could help potentially save their life should a situation occur. And some of them are very simple, like the ABCs of self-defense are awareness, boundaries, communication, and then de-escalation. Awareness is as simple as I'm at the grocery store and I'm checking my email and I'm getting notifications on Instagram and I'm not paying attention who could be following me from aisle to aisle. I'm the most guilty person of that. I'm always on my phone, 20 million emails, team members calling me. But after taking so many of our self-defense classes, I'm like, okay, Raja, emails can wait. You're at the grocery store. Make sure you're grocery shopping. Make sure you're being attentive of your surroundings. B is for setting boundaries. So sadly, a lot of times these aggressors, they're trying to push their boundaries. So it might not necessarily start off with a full attack. It might start off with that uncomfortable tap on your shoulder. We've all been there too, where someone comes over and they're touching us and you just want to scream or squeam on the inside. So we teach women, hey, set boundaries. Someone does that, someone's touching you inappropriately, someone's making you uncomfortable. Immediately take their hand, push it aside, say, do not touch me. Did
Hmm.
you hear that? Do not touch me. A lot of the people committing these crimes, um, they're not looking to be caught. They're sadly looking for victims that will not make a commotion. So that's what we're teaching people is set those boundaries and communicate in a harsh way. Don't be afraid to use foul language that can catch them off guard. Do not fucking touch me. Sorry for my inappropriate language, but that could potentially save your life. And most people don't know that. Like, how are we supposed to know that if we don't take self-defense classes? I would have thought someone's trying to attack me that I should cooperate and be like, oh, like, please don't hurt me in like a soft tone. But that's not what the experts are teaching, and that's not what they're recommending. And we tell them, obviously, if you have an InvisaWear, double click it before the situation escalates because our trained safety professionals, they can intervene, they can notify 911, they can de-escalate the situation. They can be like, leave her alone, do not get any closer to her. You don't want to make a mistake you're going to regret. Back away from her right now. Leave her alone. You're going to make a mistake. We've already notified 911. So they're the ones that have a lot of experience and they're the ones that can help you. So literally press an Invisware anytime you're uncomfortable. Even if it's a false alarm, our safety professionals are here to protect you. Like the example I use is you think someone's following you, but you're not sure. No worries. Double click InvisaWear. Our trained safety agent will immediately call you. They'll be like, Raja, are you okay? We received your alert at this location. How can we help? I'm going to say, hey, I'm feeling uncomfortable. This guy was following me, but turns out he's parked right next to me. I'm so sorry. I overreacted. The trained safety agents are going to say, we're so happy you called, Raja. That's why we're here. I'm so happy that it was a coincidence and you're not in real danger. Please call us anytime you'd like. That's what we're here for 24/7 to make sure you feel safe and protected. So it goes down to taking classes, getting tools. I always recommend layered protection. I'm a big fan of pepper spray. Always have pepper spray on me. From an InvisaWear standpoint, we really want to take it to the next level as we continue to grow as a company. And part of that is going to be also passing legislation that helps victims. A lot of times, victims aren't supported, whether it be during the domestic violence process where they're trying to get a restraining order, or whether it be if they're a young college woman who got roofied and needs a drug test. So we really want to change the system and make sure we're protecting victims as well and putting harsher repercussions in place to teach people not to commit these horrible crimes or to harass women as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love your mission, and you can just hear in your voice how committed you are to making the world a safer place. One of the things that I have recently learned from you is that hospitals are not mandated to test for whether women are drugged or not when they report these serious crimes. Tell us a little bit about that because it's quite disturbing and really concerning.
Oh my gosh, it is so disturbing. And I'm working with a really good friend of mine. Her name is Shira. She has a company called Nightcap. They make scrunchies that protect your drink from getting roofied. She just recently passed a bill in California, actually, where now bars are mandated to give you a drink cover should you ask for one. It's so incredible. We're really hoping to bring that legislation to Massachusetts as well, because Boston has a massive drink spiking
Yeah.
issue. I was recently speaking with a really incredible young woman. Her name is Ella. She had a terrible experience where she was roofied while out at a bar with some friends. And when she was taken to the hospital was refusing to give her a drug test. How horrible is that? And I guess there's some sort of rules where if you weren't sexually assaulted, they don't have to give you a test to see whether or not you were drugged. How messed up is that? It's just such a sad, terrible situation that happens on a daily basis to victims. And we really need to change the narrative with legislation and stand up as a community to do something to help protect people and to help them get tested should they need it. But Ella and her mom actually started a really great nonprofit called Chasing Red Flags, where they're trying to do really great work to change the narrative and to change the legislation as well. She was just speaking in front of Congress. I was so proud of her. Such an incredible young woman. I'll have to introduce you to her as well for you to bring her on the podcast.
Please do. Yeah, dude, I love nothing more than women who are changing the world in a way that benefits other women. It just like jazzes me up and I'm like, these are my people. The way that a hospital refuses to test someone for possible, roofing is so indicative of the lack of trust that we have in women in this country. The way that we're always telling women that it's either our fault or it's in our head or that it's not that big of a deal or simply we don't believe you. And it breaks my heart that we are in the year 2025 and we are nearing 2026 and we still are being gaslit by the industries that are supposed to keep us safe. How many women report crimes and the police officers ask exactly what you said earlier? Well, what were you wearing? Why were you out at 2 a.m.? We have hospital staff that say, well, what were you doing with that person and why were you walking alone here? And the fact of the matter is, any human should be able to walk down the street of the place that they live and be safe. Nobody at any hour should have to assume that they're going to be assaulted physically or sexually when they're just simply getting from one location to the other. We should be able to rest assured that we're safe when we are not causing trouble. We're literally just going from one place to the other. And unfortunately, that is not the reality for many of us.
Oh my gosh, it is absolutely sickening the amount of stories that I hear on a daily basis, and they're all kinds of occurrences. The majority of them are in broad daylight in situations that you can't control. I had a woman just the other day telling me she had an individual at her house fixing her internet, and the guy ended up raping her because she was
Oh
home.
my God.
Like, what do you do? Are we not supposed to have people come to our house to like help fix our internet anymore? It's like absolutely sickening. And the sad part too is exactly like you said, a lot of criticism comes at the victims for sharing their story. She was telling me, people were like, well, why did you let him alone in your house? What do you mean, why did I let him alone in my house? How was I supposed to know that this horrible situation was going to occur? It's not on her or on anyone to have to expect or predict that this horrible situation could happen during what is a very normal day-to-day activity. Like, take it from my experience, for example, none of us walk to our car thinking, oh my gosh, someone's going to potentially abduct us and we're never going to make it home. It's just so, so sickening. And that's why at InvisaWear we fight for change on a daily basis.
You say no one thinks like that. I think like that. I'm a complete psychopath. I'm like, if I step out my front door, I'm probably going to get abducted. I'm always looking around. My head is always on a swivel. I'm like, what is
My
the person up to? Why are they wearing that? Why do they drive that colored car? Like,
God.
I am such a psycho when it comes to that. And I joke that I have like rotted my brain out with the crime podcast. But to be completely honest, I actually think I'm so vigilant because of the crime podcast that I have listened to. I actually think it has made me a smarter, safer woman, I think that I have learned things to look out for. I have learned red flags. I have learned what is unusual behavior versus dangerous behavior from listening to stories of other victims. Now, you guys do a great job of highlighting these stories on your TikTok. You actually take stories of survivors and put them on your TikTok, right?
We do, yeah. We actually have a massive following on social media. We just surpassed 1 million followers on
Nice.
TikTok, actually. And we went mega viral last week. We actually have a video with over 40 million views, which is just like so surreal. But what we do is we amplify the stories of victims that we talk to and we share the experiences so that other people can learn from them. So, like you mentioned earlier, HeHe, we all watch these true crime podcasts, and some of us, like I'm exactly like you, I'm like, okay, well, never doing this, never doing this, never doing. I'm sure everyone thinks I'm mega paranoid because now I have this massive long list of things I'm petrified of doing. Not petrified, but now I'm like walking at night, like ready to pepper spray anyone that comes over. My brother was like walking too close to me. I like had pepper spray in his face for a second, like, you were about to get sprayed. Don't walk that close to a woman. This is on you. I'm always joking with the guys in my family. I'm like, you have to be super respectful if you see a woman, like, don't walk too closely, don't trail her. Like, yes, I know you're just trying to get to your new destination, but not that's not the case with everyone. So you have to be a little extra cautious that we don't have the privilege of not worrying about our safety. And some of us are constantly our heads on a swivel, like you said. But we hear stories on a daily basis. And the
Mhm.
really, really sad part is a lot of times people tell me that I'm the first person they share the story with. And it absolutely shatters my heart because these things are so, so hard to discuss. So the fact that we're able to give them some comfort by sharing their story and showing them they're not alone, a lot of times in the comments, people will respond saying the same exact thing happened to me or something like that happened to a loved one. And so on. But I feel so blessed that people feel comfortable enough to share these stories with me. But I'm not gonna lie to you, HeHe, it's really tough from a founder standpoint. Just last week, we had two young women come in that were dealing with a really horrific stalking situation, and they were so young and they had their mom with them, and they were looking at me just, they were so scared and so sad. Literally, they left the office. We got them as many InvisaWears and different form factors of safety devices that we sell. But I walked into my office and I broke down crying, and my dad's like my best friend. So when I need a shoulder to cry on, I call my dad as a grown woman. Like, Dad, this was so sad. And he goes, Raja, this is like, this happens like all the time. Like, this is not new to you. You've experienced this thousands of times. Are you gonna cry every time someone looks you in dead in the eyes and shares this horrible story? I'm like, yeah, I am, because
Maybe.
that's a real being that is experiencing something. So I'm like, I feel like I'm going to cry like just talking about this situation, but it's just so, so sad how common these things are and how scary it is to be fearing for your life because someone's stalking you or you're in a domestic violence situation. And the fact that we're able to give people some peace of mind and help them feel protected just means the world to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it provides a level of comfort that so many women are seeking and searching for. But like you mentioned earlier, there's actually not a lot of options out there. Okay, you guys, this I'm like geeking out because this is how I came into this journey of like feeling so in control of my body. And I know some people out there are not going to believe this, but I can truly tell which side I ovulate from. And it's because I truly feel it. Like I am so connected with myself. And it actually came from this temp drop, and I love it. Learning to track your fertility is so much more than just like I do or I don't want to have a baby. This is not any sort of like woo woo thing. I learned exactly what was going on. This makes so much sense because this is what my hormones are doing, right? So, for listeners, I know I'm going to get a million messages of people saying, like, what do you use? Here's what I do. I do cervical checking just anytime I go to the bathroom. I'm checking my cervical mucus, just being aware of it. It's nothing formal in my case, and it's what works for me. And then for a while there, I was waking up to take my temperature, and it just wasn't sustainable. So I opted actually for the temp drop, and I love it. It is a thermometer that I slide on my arm before I go to sleep, and it takes all the data points and takes my temperature throughout the night so that I don't have to do the work in the morning. When I wake up, I simply sync it to my phone, and voila, I have all of the graphs and the data points that it has taken throughout the night on my phone, and it has the data for the past couple weeks and months so that I have nice patterns. I love being able to have that insight into my menstrual health. If you're interested in getting your own temp drop, I will drop a savings code in the show notes for you to grab that. You can save on your purchase of temp drop with the savings code in the show notes. So I do want to talk about the pieces that you have. You're wearing a necklace. At the event that we met at, you shared about bracelets. What other options do you have?
Great question. So we have all different styles, necklaces, bracelets. We even have keychains that you can put on your purses. We have fitness bands that you can wear. And my favorite is we have a hair scrunchie. Who would ever think, HeHe, that a hair scrunchie could call 911 and could potentially save your life? How crazy is that? But more than that, we have this powerful app. That's really our secret sauce, is the technology that we've spent millions of dollars developing that allows you to be proactive about your safety. It connects to ADT, the home security company, and they're the ones that power everything. So the same safety agents that would be responding if your home was getting broken into are the same ones that are responding if you double click your device and are in need of help, but they are there 24/7. You heard a weird noise in your home alone, you're probably not going to call the police and be like, hey, I don't know if a plant fell or if my cat jumped on something or if it's a murder. But you can call InvisaWear's trained safety agents and they're going to take it very seriously. They're going to be like, no problem, Raja. We're going to stay with you on the phone till you figure it out. Do you want us to notify 911 right now? No? Okay. Well, if anything changes, we can absolutely notify 911 in a heartbeat. We have safety timers. I know a lot of women are afraid of going on solo trips and adventures from the safety aspect of it. I was one of those women for a long time. I finally took a solo trip earlier this year, and it was like the best experience of my life. I went on a hike in Arizona, which was so incredible. And the whole time I had an InvisaWear safety timer where my best friend, who was 9 months pregnant, and my dad and my brothers all were able to follow my hike. But I'm giggling prematurely at the ending of the story as I got carried away. He. And basically, the safety timer feature, you set a timer for the hour or 2 hours or 4 hours that you're doing your activity, and your loved ones get notified. Hey, Raja is performing an activity. You can follow along her journey and you can see where it is. And then when you're safe, you end the timer and basically they get notified Raja's safe. She's ended the timer and they can no longer see my location. So I don't know if I don't want my dad to know where I went after the hike, I don't have to worry about my privacy being intruded on. Anyway, I went on the hike and it was in Antelope Canyon, actually, absolutely breathtaking. And the driver had said exactly an hour is how long the hike will be. If you don't come back within an hour, we will literally leave without you.
Oh,
So I'm on my group hike, minding my own business. I'm like so excited about all the scenes, all the views. And then all of a sudden, I realize, I'm like, wait a second. This feels like it was longer than an hour. I go to the guy and I didn't have cell phone signal, so I couldn't see like basically how long my timer had been on. So I go to the leader of the hike and I was like, "How long have we been on the hike for?" And he goes, "A little over an hour." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I literally forgot to turn off my timer because I assumed that the guy was being serious, that if we're not back in an hour, like I'm actually like something went wrong. So I end up rushing back to like get cell phone signal because now I'm like, oh my gosh, my friends and family have all probably had a heart attack because I never canceled the timer. And they're gonna see I'm in the middle of nowhere on the hike. There's gonna be like helicopters and police waiting for me at the bus. I'm like sprinting back. I kid you not. ADT had called me. So the train safety agents had called me. I pick up the phone. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm okay. Like, please cancel the alert. They're like, no problem. We like when this happens. It means you weren't in danger. We won't notify police, all this stuff. But my family had already been notified, and it was my dad, my best friend, and my brothers. And I call my dad frantic. I'm like thinking there's a group text. I kid you not. In my mind, I'm like, there's an emergency plan group text.
You're already on a plane at this point.
They're already halfway from Boston to Nevada or wherever I was, Arizona. Oh my gosh, I kid you not. I like call my dad and I'm like, Dad, I'm okay. I forgot the timer that blah 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 happened. He's like, Raja, I know. I was gonna give it another 15 minutes before I worried. I'm like, are you serious? You were calm as a cucumber. You were gonna leave me waiting for 15 minutes to get me home. I literally am like, I can't talk right now. I'm like, is there a group text? He's like, no, there's no group text. I hang up on him. I call my best friend, who I've got like now a dozen text messages from.
Like, are you
She's
okay? Are you alive? Where are you?
9 months pregnant. She's like, I swear to God, Raja, I was about to book a plane ticket to come rescue you. I'm like, well, don't count on my dad in an emergency, but my best friend will come looking for me 9 months pregnant or not. That baby is about to be born on a plane. 30 seconds into my timer expiring.
That is hilarious. I love that it alerts your friends and family, and I love that they're able to track you too. I feel like that really is the assurance that so many of us are looking for. I know for me, I've recently, just because I think the news has highlighted it so much lately, something that gives me a lot of anxiety are rideshare rides. Every time I get into an Uber or a Lyft, I'm always thinking and I'm always like planning and plotting almost what I would do if some funky gas started coming out of the air vents, if they suddenly locked the doors and went into a direction that wasn't on the GPS in the direction that I was intended to go. I have a lot of anxiety around being in ride shares by myself. And like I say, I do think a lot of it is contributed to the stories that we see in the news and TikTok. Obviously, women have shared thousands of stories of being assaulted by Uber and Lyft drivers while they're just trying to, again, get from one location to the other. So it would give me a lot of comfort and assurance to know that I could set that timer. I can share the ride through the app, the Uber and Lyft app with my family, but I also have the backup of InvisaWear to say if something goes funky with the Uber Lyft app, please rely on the InvisaWear.
Oh my gosh, he. Given the nature of my work, I hear all kinds of scary situations, but the most common one, I kid you not, that I hear is something having gone wrong in a ride share to the point that now I like completely refuse to ride in a ride share alone and I don't allow any of my friends. Obviously, we all don't have the luxury, and I still get stuck taking ride shares many, many times while we're traveling for work. But it is just so heartbreaking and sickening the amount of terrible things that happen to women in ride shares. It's so important to be extremely proactive and double check the license plate of, is this the right car that's picking you up? Double check, is this a photo of the driver that's in the app? Because there's a whole scam of people selling their information and their accounts and it not even being the same person. So you need to double check that. And then you need to double check, do they have the child lock on? I had a really terrifying situation actually overseas. I'm literally crazy when it comes to safety because of how many horrible stories I've heard, especially when it comes to rideshare. So I kid you not, I got into a taxi. I was in the Middle East doing some business down there. I was at a Forbes Women's Conference actually. And I got into the taxi. It was late at night. I had just landed and there was a time difference. And the taxi driver was a bit aggressive. Like they wait for you after the buses. So like the bus parked, I got out. And one of the taxi drivers comes over and like grabs my luggage, just like, oh, I got you, and like grabs my luggage. And I was like a little annoyed by that, to be honest with you. I think it's more of a cultural thing. I don't think it was like an aggressive, it's just something we're not used to in the US of like someone dragging your luggage out of your hands. So I get into the car and I kid you not, I get in and then I immediately panic for some reason. I was like, I didn't check the child lock and I don't like getting into ride shares. So I opened the door and the guy had the child lock on. I kid you not, the left-hand side door. I go to open the right-hand side door and the child lock is also on that door. HeHe, when I tell you, I made a scene. Like the amount of self-defense classes I've taken, I just went into immediate fight. And he didn't try to hurt me or anything. Who knows what could have happened 5 minutes later? But literally, he gets back in to go to the car, and I literally moved myself to the front driver's, like crawled in between him, and I literally looked at him. I was like, "I'm getting out of this car. Get me my luggage now." And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Get me my luggage right now." He must have thought I was insane. Maybe he had little kids and there was a valid reason for why he had the child lock on, but I was not going to wait and find out. I was like, "Give me my luggage right now." And I took my luggage and I went into the bus station and I sat and I immediately called a family member and I was like, "XYZ happened." And the family member was trying to calm me down. They're like, "Just take a deep breath. There's probably a valid explanation to this. Like maybe they have kids and it was an accident." I was like, I don't know, but like I'm never getting into a rideshare again. I was like fully freaking out. But it's just so sad. You hear these stories all the time and you never think it'll happen to you. But the amount of scary situations that happen to people, like I kid you not, the story I told you of why I started the company, this rideshare story, I could tell you 12 more stories that have happened in the last 5 years. And sadly, so many of the people listening to the podcast can resonate and they have multiple stories. So it's more important than ever that we be proactive about our safety and we use our awareness. And it's so sad because it should in no way be on us. And this shouldn't be the reality of the world we live in, but it's the sad reality of the current state of the world. And I really hope InvisaWear can change that long term by creating these as deterrents. I hope one day that attackers know about our technology and they think twice before attacking a woman because they think, oh, what if this earring she's wearing immediately called for help? Or what if her tapping her shoes had a button in it? So we're really hoping that our technology scares people from committing these crimes and gives victims a way to show that they had evidence that supported that something went wrong, because the other part of it that is just extremely sickening is when something does happen, there's little evidence, which just makes me sick to my stomach that so many of these attackers get away with these crimes and then go on to commit repeat crimes. It's just makes my blood boil. I could talk to you for hours about this.
Yeah, absolutely. What a terrifying experience that you had. So, for anyone listening that doesn't know how to check for the child's safety lock to be on or off, how do you do that? You open up the door, and where are you actually looking?
Slightly different for each car. I'll actually, after this podcast, I will make a safety video and I'll post it on InvisaWear's
Oh, good.
pages so customers and listeners can have an idea on how to check if a child safety lock is on. But in a lot of cars, it's on the door and it's either you can see like a little latch if it's on the bottom or if it's at the top.
And it will be red if it's on most of the time. Is that right or no?
It really depends, to be honest with you. It's different from car to car. In the car I got in, I didn't check, but I don't think there was a color to it, if I remember correctly.
And if you were to get in a car and you noticed that child safety was on, would you physically turn that off yourself, or would you communicate that to the driver and say, "Would you mind turning that off before I get in?"
I would not enter the vehicle at all if you notice it's on, even if there's a perfectly valid situation, like there's a car seat or they have kids. I would use your discretion. Me personally, I would say, actually, I forgot something in the hotel room. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna need to cancel this ride. I'll be right back and like grab your luggage and exit the situation. It's really tough to say, but I always err on the side of caution. It's like when someone gets into an elevator with you and you have a bad gut feeling, I always tell people trust your gut instincts. You never ever know what could happen. Make up a fake excuse. I'll make some safety videos after this actually with some tips on how to exit graceful situations. Like, for example, if you're in a rideshare and you notice something like that, how do you exit without without having to like think of something on the spot. Like we'll create some ideas for people listening to be like, oh, my sister, she needs me. I need to go. And like just some canned things that they can refer to. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times, if you have something prepared in the back of your mind or a safety exit plan, it's easier to be prepared than to think of something on the spot.
For sure. I mean, hey, you'd rather be weird than be dead. So I kind of say, fuck being graceful. Just like
Agreed.
tell them, like, I'm not getting in your car. You have child safety on there. Like, oh, I have little kids. I don't care. Your kids
Agreed.
are here. There's no car seat in this car. Unlock that trunk. Get my suitcase out. I'm canceling this ride. It's just not my personality to be graceful and try and tiptoe around people who are potentially dangerous. And I do a little bit feel like if you're going to be a ride share, especially if you are a male picking up female riders, you have an obligation to make sure that your female riders feel comfortable and that you have done your due diligence to make sure that your car is safe for both male and female riders.
Absolutely. And it also isn't talked about as much, HeHe, but we get a lot of customers that are rideshare drivers and they love their job and they end up being the ones in unsafe situations
Oh
when they end
no.
up picking up intoxicated individuals. And literally, I've heard so many stories on drivers being attacked, drivers being assaulted, drivers being inappropriately touched when they're literally just trying to do their job. So it's sadly like a two-way street. It's not even just the riders that are in danger, it's equally the drivers that are also in danger, male or female.
Mm.
I've had male drivers tell me they've been inappropriately touched by other individuals that are extremely intoxicated and so on. It's crazy. Both men
Yeah.
and women experience a ton of danger.
I do want to recognize that this is primarily thought of as a woman's issue, but that men are attacked and assaulted physically and sexually every day, of course, in lower numbers than women. Or it could be that they're just not as reported as much as the low number of women that are reported. But it does make me feel very sad to know that if we had true numbers of both males and females, I just think we'd all be shaken to our core with what those numbers actually are.
Yeah, when I first started the company being a woman, I thought that this was mainly a woman's problem.
Mm.
But as I started talking to more and more people, I realized that men also become victims so much. We actually launched an entire men's line a couple of years ago because of how much demand we were getting from men, especially in big cities. In San Francisco, we had several men tell us they were robbed at gunpoint, but the big problem isn't that crazy, like robbed at gunpoint and of everything, their cell phone, like basically like stripped naked of everything that they have, which is just so sad and so scary. But the amount of druggings that take place for men as well that is not talked about, HeHe. Someone will slip something into their drink, lure them back to their place, and then rob them of everything they have. I had a man tell me that a woman basically took his Rolex, took the keys to his car, took everything. And obviously, she knew he wasn't going to report it because he was worried about the perception of who was the random girl you brought home from the bar and this is your fault, when in reality it's nobody's fault. These crimes should not be taking place to begin with. So you'll be surprised, we get a lot of customers that are men as well.
Man, that is so sad. I just want a world where we're safe, where we don't have to worry about being emotionally unsafe or mentally unsafe or physically, sexually unsafe. I just want a world where we can all coexist and be kind to one another and know that you don't have to worry about your safety when you're trying to get from A to B, whether it be 12 noon broad daylight or 12 p.m. midnight. You're safe. And if something does happen, we can rely on the systems in place. And unfortunately, right now, that's just not our reality. We just can't do that.
And that's exactly why we fight so hard at InvisaWear. We're trying really hard to work to create a safer world and not only just sell products, but also provide these resources where people can learn hands-on techniques, work with companies like Nightcap to try and push legislation and create change in the system. But we truly, truly hope to change the narrative long term and make ourselves be able to live in a world where devices like this are no longer even needed.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I want to talk about the devices and step us through the experience of getting a device. So, where can we find them? And then, how do we activate it? Is the ADT automatically included? We need an app on our phone. What does that experience look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone interested in purchasing a device can actually get one directly on our website. It's www.invisware.com. And we'll make sure your listeners get a discount code too, HeHe, so they can save some money. But the process to set up a product is super simple. Basically, you download the app onto your phone. You select 5 emergency contacts that you'd like to be alerted in the event of an emergency. You connect the device to your phone using Bluetooth Low Energy technology. And we hope you're never in an emergency situation. But if you're ever in an emergency or you feel uncomfortable, you simply double click this button 2 times. That will immediately send an alert to our systems. Our trained safety agents will immediately send a text message to the 5 people you pre selected in the app, letting them know you're in danger and that you're requesting help. It will send a link to your live location, and then if you have the 911 feature enabled, an ADT agent will text you or call you based on what you pre-select in the app to check in on you. Hopefully it's a situation like what I was sharing earlier of, oh, that person was just parked close to me and no real emergency. If it is a real emergency and you don't pick up, they will immediately notify the 911 center closest to you, letting them know that they received an emergency alert. They share all of the information that you inputted in the app. For example, your first name, your last name, if you're a runner, if you're a college student, if you're a senior citizen, if you're a real estate agent showing property to strangers, if you're a nurse or doctor working late at night. So the police have additional information on what exactly the situation could be that they're walking into so they can get you the most help. But in the app, you can use all of the additional features. You can click the big video stream button, and ADT will be able to watch you as you walk back to your car. You can set the safety timer. You can even use voice activation. Let's say you forgot to wear a device. You can set a secret phrase that only you know. And if you say that phrase, will immediately notify 911 that you're requesting help. So many different ways. It all works through InvisaWear. We have a strategic partnership with ADT where their technology is already integrated in our hardware and our app. So you only need to purchase one time from our website. They range anywhere between $99 to $250 depending on the style. But we're actually running a massive sale right now in celebration of our 9th birthday. I always tell people I wish I could afford to give these devices for free and just protect every single person in the country. Unfortunately, I can't afford to do that myself. Maybe one day I will, and I really, really, truly hope that one day we can make it so that the devices are completely free and you can just pay for the service. But we have massive discounts on the website right now. The monitoring fee in order to be able to have that trained agent available to 24/7 is $14.99 a month, and that is on the website where you purchase.
I love that so much. Quick question. Are you charged per use? Meaning, if I do accidentally hit the button twice and it's an accident, will I be charged for that?
That's a great question. You are not charged per use. That $14.99 a month covers you. You can double click your device every single night while you're walking back to your car if you want our safety agents to keep you company and make sure you're safe. We didn't want to put together a penalty in place because the last thing we want
Yeah.
is for you to think, oh, is that person actually? Nope, call us. That's what we're here for 24/7 to make sure you and the most important people in your life are safe and protected.
Yeah, I love that. And then my second question is, does the device record anything if you don't have the ADT set up? So if you do have ADT, I understand there's a live person on the other end, but if you don't have that set up, it texts out your friends and family, sends out your location. Is there any sort of recording device where it will record kind of what's going on around you?
Not at the moment, but hopefully in the future, we're always looking for fun, innovative ways to enhance your product. So that is something we would love to add in the future. It was just more of right now, it would have added so much size where it would have made the devices really chunky. And as we talked to women, they kept saying the jewelry needs to be as small as possible for us to like how it looks and to want to wear it. So they chose aesthetics versus the functionality of some sort of recording system. But as we get bigger, we'd love to create a second product line, maybe in a few years, that has that functionality.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Raja, you are doing amazing work. And I just want to say something that I love about your company is that everything is made locally in the US, which is very important to me. I try and support local and US based companies when I can. So not only are you local and you're US based and you're woman owned, I just feel like you are the it girl, you're the it brand for keeping us safe. And I really, really appreciate you being here today.
You are so kind, HeHe. Thank you so much. I truly can't thank you enough for having me on your show and sharing my story and raising awareness for people's safety and helping us create a safer world. You never know, maybe someone listening will buy this for their loved one and maybe it will save their lives. So you're a hero. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
My gosh, absolutely. And you guys, I hope that we get to see this everywhere. I hope every time I leave my house I can scan people's wrists and their necks and their hair ties and say, "Oh my gosh, that's InvisaWear everywhere." I hope that one day it's in all of our schools and on all of our college campuses and all over our hospitals and just average everyday people. It is a household name brand. I really look forward to. And I'm hopeful that one day we'll be able to reach this place where women can confidently go out and take those solo trips and go on a run and go to the grocery store without being nervous about being taken or assaulted or catcalled. So, Raja, you've already shared your website once, but remind us where we can get it, remind us where we can connect with you. And if you wouldn't mind, share your Instagram and TikTok handle so that we can follow along there, not only for those stories, but also for your safety tips that you share.
Yeah, thank you so much, HeHe. Listeners can go to our website. It's just www.invisawear.com. Invisawear is spelled InvisaWear.com. And our Instagram and TikTok handle is at InvisaWear. And then my personal handle where I share safety tips is at Raja XOXO. Raja's RAJIA XOXO. But thank you again, HeHe. It was such a pleasure being on your show.
Oh my gosh, you are such a joy. Thank you so much for the change that you are bringing to women's safety. I mean, this is genuinely such a big issue facing everybody, men included. I don't mean to leave you guys out, but just as a woman, I resonate so deeply with the anxiety that does come, traveling a lot alone. And I deeply resonate with feeling a little fearful when I leave my house, never knowing who is around and, will I be equipped if the time ever comes to truly keep myself safe. And so I love InvisaWear. I love the mission. I love the company. I love the changes that you guys are making. And listeners, if you're out there thinking like, I got to get my hands on that, Yes, you do. Visit our show notes. We will not only have a link to InvisaWear website, but we will also have a savings code for you so that you can get your InvisaWear pieces and you can save a little bit of money. All right, you guys, I'll see you in the next episode. Be sure to follow not only Raja, but also InvisaWear on social media. And you can find me at Tranquility by HeHe and at the.birth.lounge. Until next time, head to your app store and download the Birth Lounge app for evidence-based childbirth education and data-driven postpartum support delivered straight to your phone. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I love hanging out with you, and it is an honor to be your go-to gal when it comes to preparing for your baby. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a 5-star review and tell others why they should be listening to the Birth Lounge podcast too. You deserve to have a birth that you love with a provider that values your autonomy and respects informed consent without all the trauma that you so commonly hear about on social media. New episodes air every Wednesday and Friday. Hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. I'm HeHe, and this is the Birth Lounge Podcast.